Welcome back to the My Pro Golfer channel. Today we've got a special episode on how to care for the course video series. And today we're going to talk about range etiquette. And if you ever practice at a place like Summerfield Crossings Golf Club, the range is a beautiful place that we want to maintain and take care of. And I'm going to show you today how to be respectful to not only the players playing, but the maintenance team themselves on this episode of Care for the Course. Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. Here at My Pro Golfer, you know we like to keep things simple. And today, I've got a special gift for you to help you never miss a 5-foot putt again. Click the link below and download today. So gang, first things first, obviously here at Summerfield Crossings Golf Club, we care a lot about our practice facilities. If you watch any of my Instagrams on MyProGolfer24, you'll see that we have just a phenomenal place, which I have nicknamed The Garden. I want you to come plant your seed here and grow your game. And it matches up with the olive tree logo and the theme. So if you look behind me, first thing you notice is ropes. Don't hit outside the ropes, number one. Because if you look behind the ropes, you can see here how the maintenance team has already put a ton of sand down to help the course and the grass recover quickly. If we don't have that option, then by the time we get to the end of the range and come back, those divots won't be grown in. So really care for the course. And I'm gonna get real specific on how I want you to make divots in order to help the maintenance team have less work to do each and every day. All right, so you can tell from the video, the range is starting to slow down and the baskets are there. But down below here is an example of a poor divot pattern. You see how they've got a ton of divots and they're just using a whole bunch of space. It's almost 4 feet by 4 feet. That's going to take a long time to develop. And I want you to make sure that you're doing the spots in a line. So if you look at these 3 lines, that's probably done by one player. And that position of the area has still got plenty of turf to use and will grow in quite a bit faster. So as you look at my setup here in my teaching area, somebody was hitting yesterday where they used quite a bit of turf. And so if I come back there, I'm gonna have a tough time using that space. We wanna create the lines that I just showed you, and I'll show you the easiest way to make that work next. All right, let's talk a little bit about how to make a divot. So what I wanna do is I'm always gonna encourage you to not only care for the course, but also care for your practice habits. So you see I got 3 rods right here, and I was just working with a student on path and trying to understand path. So we've got 3 lines here. It's pretty excessive. You'll see Scotty Scheffler using 2, kind of driver and woods out here, and then wedges kind of on this side so that he knows he can get a little steeper and he can see the difference in the divot pattern. That's a really smart thing to do. Fun enough, the best player in the world does that. I'm getting a little excessive here because with one of my students that we just had, I'm trying to showcase the path that they're on and try to help them get a little bit better at path, even though they're just in the step 3 of the olive tree method. So if you look at the divots, you can see how they're a little toe deep and coming in to out. That's gonna be a tough shot to kind of perfect it. If they don't have these rods, they don't know that they're 45 degrees in to out. And so what we wanna try to calculate is, all right, what am I gonna do to get that? And then once your body's lined up, because you know you're lined up, well, then you're just naturally gonna make a better off overall movement pattern in your golf shot. And so being able to hit a little bit of a divot versus a really thick divot is exactly what they do on television. And we've got paspalum here, which is a phenomenal grass, grows back really quick. And one of the things that they do well here at Summerfield is they really promote the range usage and what they're trying to get their players to be good at. So if we can get more comfortable with getting divots down the correct target line and then putting the next ball behind the ball that we just hit, then I could hit about 30 balls and only take up about 2 feet of turf that are only that wide. And so the paspalum can grow back in by the time we get to the end of the range back to here, as long as it's sanded. And you'll notice the sand that are down. If you want to speed up that process, here at Summerfield Crossings Golf Club, they've got a bunch of sand bottles there at the end. We're going to show you a little later how to fill that divot properly and step it down so it doesn't hurt any of the mowers or anything like that. And that is how I want you to think about making divots in practice habits. If you're going to move your divot, move your angle, and give yourself plenty of space for a new divot so that that grass can grow back the way you hit it, and we can start a whole new fresh line with all this grass working together to fill those divots as Bermuda grass grows this way, not that way. All right, so your practice session's over and you want to know how you can help take care of the course. And so we've got a sand bottle here, and sand bottles are, you know, sometimes they're tough because they get the muddy stuck in there. So what I want you to do is just aim it sideways and just tap it out, because we don't want too much sand. We want just enough sand to fill the divot. So I kind of just tap it. You see how it's kind of coming out kind of clunky and dense and thick. That's okay. I mean, in an ideal world, the sand is dry and it starts soaking up the moisture that's underneath and really kind of connecting to the ground. So now I've filled the divots with the sand. And now for the mowers, we want to step it down. We want to be able to make sure that our feet kind of push down on it and get it settled in there, because we don't want a lot of excess sand outside, because we want the mowers to be able to go over and cut the strips of turf just like they do and manicure it so well without having to hurt the mower blades. So this is probably a little bit high. I'm just going to push that into there. This is probably a little bit high on the edge. Just push that into there. That's getting maybe a little bit precise, but I just want you to have the knowledge of why they fill the divot. So there's major reasons are the grass now can grow over the divot evenly and has a little place for fresh sand and soil to get into the earth so that it matures the root systems and allows things to go and really gel well. You'll see further back in the range, and obviously forward here, this is all grown in. You can see little spots of slightly different colors. And so it's basically brand new grass growing into the old grass, and you'll actually see the lines from the paspalum created. The other thing is it stops debris and other potential diseases from getting into the affected and negatively adjusted turf. So like just like a lawn, you want your turf conditions to be really exceptional. And if your turf conditions can be protected by the sand, then we got a real great opportunity for this to grow back as healthy and really longevity style turf. Absolutely essential to make sure that you can hit the shot. And then on the golf course, it gives the ball an opportunity to roll past the divot versus in and get stuck. And a sand-filled divot's a lot easier to hit out of than a deep divot where you don't have the ball available to the golf club. So hopefully that's helpful to you to make sure you know a little bit about how to care for the divot patterns that you create, ideally aiming at some specific target in your practice sessions. All right, last but not least, this one's for all you range talkers out there. And so I know that there's a number of you, and if you look behind me, we've got, 4, 5, 6 people practicing, and I want you to kind of get an idea of how to look at the player that's practicing and whether or not they want to have a conversation with you, no matter what you think you know or don't know about the game. So the gentleman right next to me has got a camera stand and alignment rods. That means don't talk to me, I'm working on something. Down the line, you've got Vinny in the yellow. Vinny is doing a practice session, and he's a great guy. He would be happy to talk to you and give you some of his feedback on what he thinks about the golf game. The one thing I can't stand watching out here is unsolicited advice. So if you have interest in helping a player or something like that, go to them. If they look like they are somebody that is willing to listen to you, then I want you to go say, hey, I've noticed you're doing this with your swing. Do you have any interest in hearing what I have to say about it? And if they say no, then leave them alone. If you just feel like you want to share your information, comment below on the videos that I send you. Don't make it awkward on the range. Be a range hero, not a range zero. A range zero is someone that puts advice to players down there that may or may not working on it. If you're not going to take the time to create some curiosity about the person, don't inject your information. Hey, just want to remind you to not forget on getting your free gift below on how to never miss a 5-foot putt. All right, so I wanted to thank you so much for watching this Care for the Course video series. You can see behind me, man, let's just be helpful to the players that are trying to get better at this game, just like you and I are. And let's also care quite a bit for the golf course itself and do our part to make sure that the facilities around us are looking their best, growing their best, and being a part of really almost cultivating that garden-like mentality that I so enjoy in my instruction side of things. So if you like this video, like it. If you like it, subscribe. We'll see you next Thursday at 6 o'clock.